You won't believe what's just happened in Chicago. The Bears have made a move that could completely change their defense, and honestly, it might be exactly what they needed. Before we dive into this breaking update and the latest NFL news, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and turn on the bell icon so you never miss a single update. Alright, let's get into it. The Chicago Bears have just strengthened their pass rush by adding Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, and this move could quietly become one of the smartest decisions of their season. Now, I know what you're thinking, Joe hasn't played many snaps this year. That's true. But when he has stepped on the field, he's made every single play count. In just 31 snaps, he's created 3 pressures, 4 tackles, and several crucial stops. Those numbers might not scream superstar, but they show real impact, and that's something this defense has been missing badly. Let's not forget, this same defense gave up over 40 points to the Bengals without Joe Burrow even playing. Something had to change, and the Bears clearly knew it. They needed more energy, more aggression up front, and Joe brings exactly that. He's not the kind of player who makes headlines every week, but he's the kind who makes a difference when it matters. Every rep, every snap, he brings pressure, he creates movement, and he helps collapse the pocket. If he can build on that and get consistent playing time, the Bears might have just found a serious weapon for their defensive line. So, what does this mean for Chicago moving forward? Stay with me, because this story is just getting started. What really stands out about Joe Tryon-Shoyinka is his relentless pursuit. On that play, the quarterback simply had no time to breathe. Every step he took, Joe was right there behind him, forcing him to move, forcing him to make mistakes. That constant pressure made it impossible for the QB to set his feet or find rhythm. It wasn't just him alone, either. His teammate Carson Schwestinger brought heat from the middle, collapsing the pocket completely. Together, they turned what looked like a routine play into pure chaos for the offense. Now, Joe hasn't seen a ton of snaps this season, but when he does get his chance, he makes it count. Take this moment against the Steelers. The offense lines up with extra protection, expecting to handle the rush easily. But Joe lines up wide, reads the play instantly, and explodes toward the backfield. The offensive line tries to slide and seal him off. The running back steps in for support. It doesn't matter. Joe plants his foot, bursts inside, and completely destroys the blocking setup. The running back barely gets a hand on him before Joe blows the play up, forcing a desperate dump-off that loses nearly 10 yards. That kind of disruption doesn't always show up in the stat sheet, but coaches notice it. Those are the plays that swing momentum, frustrate quarterbacks, and lift an entire defense. And that's exactly what the Bears have been missing, someone who refuses to slow down, even when the play seems lost. Joe brings that energy, that fight, and that hunger every single time. So the question now is, can he turn that spark into something bigger for the Chicago defense? Stay with me. The next part might just give us the answer. That play was another perfect example of why Joe Tryon-Shoyinka deserves more attention. The speed, the hand placement, the burst, it all came together in one clean motion. The offensive line barely had time to react before he was already in the backfield. And remember, this is coming from a guy who's barely seen the field this season. His largest workload in a single game? Just 7 snaps. That's it. 7 chances to prove himself. But what he's done with those few opportunities says a lot about his hunger and his drive. When a player doesn't get many reps, every snap becomes personal. Every moment on the field is a chance to make people remember your name, and Joe seems to understand that better than most. Now, if we take a quick look at the Bears' current depth on the defensive line, the situation makes even more sense. Injuries have hit this unit hard. Dio Odeyingbo is dealing with a major issue, Dominique Robinson is also sidelined, and that's left the team thin up front. Yes, they've got young talent like Austin Booker, who's shown flashes and might even earn a starting role opposite Montez Sweat. But beyond that, there's not much proven depth. And that's exactly where Joe steps in, not as the star, not as the savior, but as a much-needed spark to keep this defense alive. He doesn't need to start right away. What he needs is consistency, the chance to build rhythm, to bring that same burst and effort week after week. Because if he does, this defensive line could quietly become one of the most underrated groups in the league. The Bears aren't just adding depth, they're adding determination. And sometimes, that's what changes everything. Stay with me, the next update could surprise you even more. When you look deeper into the Bears roster, you can see exactly why this move had to happen. Behind their starters, there isn't much proven experience left. They've got young players like Jamari Croma and Jonathan Garvin, both talented, but still finding their rhythm in the league. That's why adding someone like Joe Tryon-Shoyinka makes sense. He's not just another name, he's a player who's already shown flashes of real potential, even with limited time on the field. He's been able to pressure quarterbacks, close gaps, and disrupt plays in moments where others might fade away. And for Chicago, that kind of energy is everything. They're a team trying to rebuild their identity, trying to prove they can still play tough, physical football. Every snap, every defensive stop matters right now. What makes this situation even more interesting is how it lines up with their next challenge, Monday Night Football. All eyes will be on them, and this is exactly the kind of stage where someone like Joe can turn heads. Under the bright lights, against a strong opponent, that's where reputations are made. The Bears need someone to step up, to bring pressure when it counts, and to remind everyone that this defense still has bite. Joe's not just filling a roster spot, he's stepping into an opportunity that could change how fans see this entire defensive unit. If he shows up big in the next game, the conversation around Chicago's defense could shift overnight. Stay with me, because what's coming next might just change everything for the Bears. Once again, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka shows exactly why the Bears wanted him. The offense lines up heavy 3 tight ends on the field, extra blockers in place, doing everything they can to slow him down. On paper, that should work. But when the ball is snapped, it doesn't even come close. Joe reads the play instantly. He recognizes the formation, sees the bootleg developing, and bursts off the line with speed that surprises everyone. The tight end tries to seal the edge, but Joe cuts through the block before the play can even take shape. That's the kind of explosiveness you expect from a former first-round pick. Quick reaction, perfect timing, and the power to wreck a play before it begins. And that's exactly what Chicago is hoping to unlock. The talent has always been there. The question is, can the Bears turn that raw ability into consistent production? Because if they can, this could be one of the most underrated moves of the entire season. You can feel what the Bears are trying to build, a defense that attacks, one that doesn't wait for mistakes but forces them. Joe fits that mentality perfectly: aggressive, fast, and relentless. The potential is there, waiting to be unleashed. And if he keeps making plays like this, people won't just be talking about his past, they'll be talking about the future he's building in Chicago. Stay with me, because the final part ties it all together and shows exactly what this move could mean for the Bears going forward. The offense thought they had the protection figured out, but they didn't. Darnell Washington was supposed to slow Joe Tryon-Shoyinka down, but he simply couldn't. Joe exploded into the backfield before anyone could react, forcing Aaron Rodgers to rush his throw and scramble just to survive the play. That single moment summed up exactly what Joe brings: speed, power, and a never-quit attitude. Even when the play breaks down, he keeps chasing, keeps fighting until the whistle blows. That's the kind of mentality a defense feeds off. And when you look at what the Bears gave up for him, it's almost unbelievable. A simple swap of late-round picks. That's it. For a player with first-round talent and years of upside still left in him, that's a move you make every time. No, he doesn't need to start right away. Chicago already has young pass rushers developing, like Austin Booker, who's showing real promise. But adding Joe gives them flexibility, depth, and, most importantly, potential. If the Bears can tap into what made him a top prospect, this could quietly turn into one of the smartest trades of the season, the kind that doesn't just fill a roster spot, but changes the energy of an entire defense. So as Chicago gears up for what's ahead, keep an eye on number 94. He's got something to prove, and every sign says he's ready to prove it. Stay with me, because this story of Chicago's rise on defense is far from over.